you. So use the. Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to this talk. My name is Nilufar. I'm the head of department at Otago Poly Auckland International Campus. I joined OP in October last year. Before that, I was at Unitec. You just saw a video of the nice campus they have there. I was an associate professor and acting head of department. And before that, I was in Australia as a researcher, looking at some using technology in health, mainly using social media and different aspects of it. And before that, I was in Christchurch. So I did my study at University of Canterbury and worked in Sungard for about a year and a half as a software developer. So my research interest, my PhD was in artificial intelligence in education. And after that, I moved into kind of game-based learning, games for health and game for education, more or less staying in the same field. Recently, I've started working on some augmented reality, virtual reality projects, mainly in health, and also persuasive technology. I don't know how many of you have heard of that term, persuasive technology. There's a conference happening in that field at the moment. The whole idea is how can you persuade people to do something. So, for example, social media, Facebook and Instagram are applying a lot of the concepts. When you're typing in Facebook chat, you can see the other person saying typing. You can see a few dots. That's all hooking into psychology to try to get you engaged and keep you on the page. Or when you swipe up and down and you can see the notification popping up saying don't go away, there's more to see. So these are all persuasive technology ideas. I'm an active researcher. If you look me up on Google Scholar, you can see some of my papers. So before I talk about my research, I thought I'll include a few slides on Otago Poly Auckland campus. A lot of people are not aware that we have a campus in Auckland. They usually ask me, oh, so how's the weather in Dunedin? It must be very cold. I've only been to Dunedin once and stayed for 2 days. Yes, it is cold there at the moment. But in Auckland campus, we offer graduate diploma in information technology. We offer bachelor. We have just started offering it. So it's brand new. And we're also working on postgraduate information technology. And the campus is an international campus, which means we only admit international students into our programs. A little bit about the programs. We are covering a variety of topics: programming, web development, mobile development, data science, Internet of Things, system analysis, project management, and we include a lot of industry certificates into our programs to make them more attractive for students. We have got Cisco. We have recently partnered with Amazon AWS. And we are looking at embedding more certificates because that's the trend at the moment. If you have some industry certificates on your CV, it will really help you with finding jobs. And that's what we want our students to do when they graduate, to be employable as much as possible. So we have a number of highly capable staff in the department and all research active. And we are all working on multidisciplinary projects. So the core of it is the ICT research. Which, you can divide into different fields. There's human-computer interaction, machine learning, robotics, Internet of Things. And then as you can see, there's psychology, environment, education, health, and engineering. So in my case, I'm mainly focusing on health and education. That's where my research sits, a little bit of psychology as well. My colleagues, some are focusing on environments and engineering as well. So I'll just give you a brief overview of some of my projects, and if you're interested, please feel free to come and have a chat after the presentations. We're always looking for new collaborators. So first project I'm going to talk about is Diabetic Mario project. Is how it started. The whole idea is that type 2 diabetes is a big issue in New Zealand, and that affects a lot of children and not just New Zealand, in a lot of other countries. And the main reason is that children are not as active as probably the previous generations. A lot of sedentary activity where you're just sitting and staring at your tablet, so there's not much running around. And just all that sitting down and eating a lot of sugary stuff doesn't obviously go well with your body, and what might result in is a lot of kids that are battling with obesity, overweight and obesity, and some develop type 2 diabetes. So we started with educating with Diabetic Mario project, educating kids to manage their condition. So here we took an open source game of Mario. I'm sure most of you guys have heard of Mario. And we modified it. So now Mario has type 2 diabetes. And on his way to save the princess, he has to control his blood sugar level. So there are food options available to Mario. He can go for the chocolate or he can go for the apple. And obviously, based on what they choose, the blood sugar level goes up and down. There's going to be jumping involved. And we still try to keep as many aspects of the design of the original game as possible, just to keep kids engaged. And then moving on to the next stage, it's more around prevention of type 2. So teaching kids to live healthy. So again, this is a diabetic jumper, so it's going up and there are different items presented to them. They have to try to grab the healthy items. And then there is exercise, obviously not exercise, but exercise within the game. And then as they pick the right items, the energy level goes up. So they have to keep an eye on their energy level and weight. If they have something sugary, the energy level goes up quite a bit and all of a sudden drops. So they can see that they shouldn't really be opting for those. So for this project, we be partnering with University of Auckland, National Institute for Health Innovation, NIHI Center. Professor Ralph Madison is my collaborator, and we applied for Health Research Council grant 2 years ago. So we are doing a trial of these new games to see how effective it is. If you want to read about it, I don't know if a copy of the slides will be available to audience, but I've included some notes. But you can look it up, Diabetic Mario with my name. Recently, there was an article on Otago Poly research projects as well, and we have also published on it. So Journal of Games for Health, if you can easily look me up. We did a pilot study, and it showed that children found the game engaging, and we did a pre and post knowledge of healthy diet and lifestyle, and we noticed that knowledge increased. So so that was good to see, but a full study is currently ongoing. Speaking of Games for Health Journal, we are currently hosting a special issue on supporting disease prevention and lifestyle changes through gaming. So if any of you guys are researchers in that area, I encourage you to submit a manuscript. And the deadline is 15th of August. So you still have a few weeks left if you are interested. Okay, so I thought I will just include or talk about two other projects that we are currently working on, and they are more in the area of mental health, which has attracted a lot of attention at the moment, and we hear that the government is planning to pour a lot more money into that field. Mental health is a major issue, and a lot of people are struggling with it. It used to be a big taboo. People wouldn't talk about it. Now it's because of all the media coverage, and you hear people talking about it more, but there's a lot of struggle providing support for people with mental health issues. So there are games that are out there currently and are being developed for supporting mental health, and that's getting more attention, but we haven't come across any study that actually look at the user preferences, the game user preferences of people with mental health, mainly mood disorder is what we are looking at the moment. So this is where the idea came from. So we have an Android game. Again, we took an open source game. So the players are allowed to change the settings. They can change the background to dark or light, colored or black and white, up and down. So they can change a few things, and we just wanted to see what the preferences of users are. Now, we did a study. One of my co-authors is in China, so this study was conducted over there. We are in the process of applying for ethics approval to conduct it in New Zealand as well. But 25 people used it, and they basically played with the background color, music, character movement, gender, and the study showed that with the 25 participants, that a majority went for the dark and color layout, and we didn't actually see much difference between people who had mood disorder and other users. But there was a limitation with the study in that it was self-reported history of mood changes. So, you know, that day I might not have had breakfast, and I would think that my mood is down. So I just said, yep. On the form, I said, yes, I have a history of mood changes. But to be more accurate, we actually want to get them to do a few questionnaires to be able to evaluate their mood. So it's not just self-reported, because this is never very accurate. But regardless, we submitted the finding of this work in the Frontiers Digital Health, and it was recently published. Another exciting project that we have started working on is using virtual reality for mental health. And again, this is attracting a lot of attention at the moment. So I came across this very interesting study done at UCL, University College London, where the investigators looked at the idea of using a virtual character. So you have a virtual child sitting in the room and they're crying. And the participant's job is to use kind words and deliver compassion to the child. And obviously the virtual character is programmed to react positively to those words. And if I can play the video, just, where's the enter? Can you do it in here? So this is linked to YouTube. If I so the participants, people that were hired for this had history of depression, medium to mild. So, and it wasn't self-reported. So the lead investigator, I think she's a clinical psychologist, they used some forms and they measured the depression. So part one is that the participants, they are trained to deliver compassion to the virtual child. So just play. Okay, you can see the video though. Can we switch the screen? Sorry, I'm watching the swapping the screen. Is it gonna go on the? And we have the sound, but. I guess we can just play the.
No, is it? Yeah.
Is it there?
Yeah.
Oh. Yep. Oh no. Sorry. I have to close the browser. Yeah. Someone's playing children's music. Okay. So yeah. So you got the idea, and what we are planning to do, we are planning to build on this project, where do I want to go? Yeah, so we're planning to build on this project and maybe introduce other social situations. For example, someone hasn't done very well in the exam, or the participant has, say, fallen out of love, or they didn't do well in the interview, and kind of provide them these different social situations and see whether this VR will make a difference. Although if you talk to mental health professionals, I'm not a mental health professional, they might argue that there might be problems from ethics point of view. How would we know that people then wouldn't be so dependent on these tools rather than non-virtual situations? So speaking of VR, we're also hosting a workshop in ISMAR symposium of mixed and augmented reality in Beijing in October. And again, if you guys are interested, or if you're working in this area, and this is workshop, so we're interested in work in progress, ideas, discussion points. So if you're interested to take part, the deadline is next week. We have also done some work in virtual reality and education. My last slide, second to last. So this is a collaboration between IT students and construction students at Otago Poly. They basically got together and they created this VR model, 3D VR model for promoting learner engagement in construction studies. And the idea is that introducing these models, you basically could replace it with the actual site visits. So students can navigate through these rooms. And we also want to teach them sustainable building construction. So some of the techniques have been implemented here. And the preliminary findings published in IEEE Econ Conference in 2019. Finally, we are doing a lot of applied research, and we have some people from industry and academia on our industry advisory board. Masoud is also part of the team. If you guys are interested, please let me know. We would love to collaborate with you. If you can think of projects that our students can work on, they're happy to do it for free. And if you want to collaborate, just let me know. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.